This video is made for adult collectors because a couple videos ago I said I was getting screen burn in my monitor. Well, it got so bad I had to buy a new monitor. You know, this not being like actual Godzilla reminds me of that scene from that Austin Powers, I think it was Austin Powers 3, where they do the whole still we should run because it is Godzilla or whatever. Because this isn't actually Godzilla, it's just like a weird amalgamation of him. It's just Grimlock. So this is the long-awaited Godzilla Transformer, and it's just Grimlock. There's no new tooling changes at all to this, and that's honestly kind of disappointing. I was really looking forward to a transforming Godzilla figure. I felt like they were going to use the 86 mold for Grimlock, but change it a lot. But it changes nothing but Deco. But why though? I don't think we'll ever get a solid answer. I've asked around to the best of my abilities, but I don't have contact with anyone in Takara, so I can't get a solid answer from that. I should probably fix that. I did, however, ask Evan from Hasbro, knowing he probably wouldn't know because he's Hasbro and not Takara. And he did answer it to the best of his abilities, saying, I should have got the screenshot prepared before I started recording this. So I can only speak about how collabs work from my experience on the Hasbro side of things with a licensor. This all depends on what goes into the contracts and licensor agreements, so things can change and vary from licensor to licensor. Tooling of the figures has always been paid for by us on the figures we create for the Hasbro markets, and I think the driving factor is if the licensor approves of the concept and final production. Obviously, our Naruto collab was a partial tool off of Kingdom Cheetor, so we couldn't create an entirely new figure. Would have loved to, but budgets are always a consideration. So my best guess after that information that he gave me is that this was either not a high budget production, so all they could do was deco changes, or Toho okayed just a deco change and Takara ran with it. Either way, we got this. It's here now. So let's talk about the actual toy. Thanks, Evan, again for answering my questions, by the way. This is Godzilla from the Transformers Godzilla crossover. This is a redeco of 86 Grimlock, so all of the details are Grimlock, but the deco looks nice. They did the best they could with just paint to get the texture of scales on the face, chest, and thighs. And the new neck piece with the clear blue and then like the spikes painted on the side, I actually like the way that that looks. That's pretty cool. I also dig this shade of black because it feels like a mix of blue-green in it. It looks more like Godzilla's color and less like just pure black, which is what all the photos originally made it look like. He comes with a blast effect to emulate the atomic breath, and all I can say is that's more than an SH Monster Arts figure will give you for like 2 times the price. They did paint his tongue glow, which is cool. Now let's make it a robot because there is actually a new piece of tooling, sort of, in the robot mode. It's just Grimlock again. Like there's no real difference in anything in how the transformation works. It's just Grimlock again. Like, I do wish there was a little bit more done in the way of changes and differences as a new head, and I'll talk about... The new head's actually quite interesting. I will talk about where that comes from, because it did exist already for a while. But, yeah, it's just, you know, you fold these up, if you flip this out. This, however, doesn't automatically slide over anymore, these rails. I gotta do it, like, manually. It's such a minor thing, but it is something that I did notice. But everything on this particular figure pegs together very well. I'll talk about that a little later, too, but it's, like, the best feeling version of this mold that I own, which is kind of funny because it's the only one that isn't Grimlock. Just get the hands folded out here. I also do wish for the money you pay you got a sword. That would have been cool. I mean, I guess you can use this as like a beam effect sword of some kind. There he is in robot mode, by the way. But I guess you could use that as a beam effect sword, but it just doesn't come with one. Also, the gun can store on the feet like in dino mode. I just forgot to show that. But yeah, he's just Grimlock. What I like to do to kind of make the silhouette look a little bit different is I'll fold these all the way back. So that way they're kind of hidden in robot mode, and he feels a little bit less like Grimlock, though they do stick out quite a bit, but it helps, I guess. That's Grimlock with a Megatron head, but the head has an interesting story. This little excerpt I'm about to read to you is from the Takara Generations book from 2024, but it says right here, and this has been Google translated, by the way, at the time when it was unclear how long the 86 series itself would continue, the only Dinobots, Grimlock and Sludge, had been decided, and it was unclear whether to make any more of that. So I put Sludge's head on the Grimlock mold, and in the worst case scenario, I was thinking of making Sludge with a partial of Grimlock. As a result, I was able to release Sludge, but due to the influence of that time, there is still some influence of Grimlock in Sludge's transformation. So yeah, this was a Sludge head from the beginning. Like, look, there it is on the CAD for sludge. I like the new head. It does fit Megatron quite well. Like it has that shape and that bucket to it, especially the way they painted it. The colors are also very nice here too, emulating the Megatron stomach detail on the Grimlock tooling, incorporating silver into the feet, but I wish the inner legs were painted red like G1 Megatron's toy. I think that would have helped this robot stand out just a little bit more on a shelf, because he kind of gets lost. Otherwise, it's just Grimlock again, though this has to be the best toleranced version of this toy I own, because I have 4 of this figure and this one's the most solid. The gun is the same, but it's silver this time like the comic one, and he can still use the blast effect, though the whole thing is kind of a little too heavy for the peg on the gun. But yeah, again, it's really just Grimlock with a new head. There's not much else to talk. We've talked about this mold, what, 3 times now, I think? I think it would have been cool if he came with like a fusion cannon for his arm rather than the generic Grimlock gun. Like, if they even, like, chucked in the Gamer Edition one or something. Actually, hang on. My Gamer Edition Megatron has a 3D printed gun my buddy made for me. So let's see. This might be just too small. Yeah. You know what? I'll leave him like that. He'll stay like that for now. I might just go and, like, try and find a bigger fusion cannon to stick there rather than this. Because I was kind of hoping this could stick here, but, like, this shape just does not allow for that. Anyways, the head is on a ball joint. It does the same thing all the other Grimlocks do, where this panel doesn't lock in, which is a little annoying. But you get a little bit of tilt, you get some rotation, and a tiny bit of up and down on the ball joint, but then you can use that panel to look up that far and look down that far. The wings, they can move forward and back, up and down. Shoulders, ratcheted full 360, they can go in and out. Bicep rotation, single jointed elbow that bends more than 90 degrees. You do have a wrist rotation. You do have a waist joint, and this is also like the most secure chest of all of the Grimlock molds that I own, which is fantastic. Hips can go forward, they can go back. They're detented, but like, not the strongest detents in the world. All of them are like that. They can go in and out. You do have thigh rotation. You have 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then you have an ankle tilt with sculpted in bits, which I like quite a bit. I also kind of wish that thighs were silver to match the feet. I just noticed that they're not. But yeah, he has the same poseability as all the other Grimlocks, but everything just kind of plugs together a little bit more securely on this one for me. There, now he's in a fusion cannon pose. That looks okay. It's a little small, but I think I'll keep it like that. I just wish that he came with a bigger gun rather than this. So yeah, this is okay. The toy itself is completely fine, but it's just not a great Godzilla toy. I think a simple new head in the dino mode and some spines would have changed that. Like, I think that's just those 2 pieces that they needed. There is an upgrade kit, actually there's several, but the DNA one, God, it's the same price as the toy. I'm not doing that. But for how much this costs and what it's trying to do, I don't think it succeeds, and I don't really recommend picking it up. Unless you're like a super duper uber Godzilla fan who really needs to have every piece of Godzilla merch, then obviously you need this and the Optimus. But it doesn't change enough to me to justify that price or to justify me going to buy that Optimus. But that's my look at the Godzilla X Transformers Megatron Godzilla Millennium whatever. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.